You're watching Midnight Movie Talk live from Los Angeles, direct from Neon's latest. Brandon Cronenberg is back with Infinity Pool. And I will start the review here like this. Are you interested in watching Mia Goth jack Alexander Skarsgård off? As you guys can tell, this show's not going to be for the kiddos. Are you interested in watching Alexander Skarsgård breastfeed off of Mia Goth's teat? If you answered yes to either of those questions, Infinity Pool may just be for you. I gotta tell you that for a film that what I just told you sounds, forgive me, titillating, but what a bore of a film we are looking at here. I had my head wedged up against the metal railing for the entire duration of this snooze fest that should be an interesting, morality take on cloning. Essentially what this film boils down to, right? It is White Lotus, go to the resort, meet some mysterious clan of Manson family members, essentially. And then we get into the fun of cloning as Mia Goth tries to turn Alexander Skarsgård against himself, literally against himself. But all I could think about watching this film was, and when you see so many films, right? When you're in the position that I am and you try to see pretty much everything that comes out from any even sub-indie release studio, any distributor that's out there, then you see everything, including a film from last year that none of you bothered to watch, even though I told you to see it. It's Riley Stearns, and it is Duel, D-U-A-L, right? And it's a duel between a duel of the same person. So it's cloning, but it's so much more thought-provoking than Infinity Pool, which has the possibility of being an interesting film, but ends up being an incredible bore. I mean, how do you... I just said two things off the top that should be of interest to you, I would think, if you are into those kind of things. Or how about a kaleidoscopic orgy? Does that sound like something that you'd be interested in? Then you may like Infinity Pool. But I fear that you're going to have the exact same reaction that I did. When's this over? When are we getting out of this film? And it's weird how when you watch films that are trying to push buttons, trying to get a reaction on it, trying to be audacious to the point where you're like, oh my God, I can't believe. And some of the reviews that came out of Sundance yesterday, it seemed to have that reaction. I'm like, have you guys not seen films before? Films that actually are able to push buttons, that are able to ask tough questions, that are far more engrossing than Infinity Pool. But because of the Cronenberg name, we're going to get a lot of people talking about this film. But I'm here to tell you that if anyone tells you that Infinity Pool is a great film or anything remotely near that word, then you need to really look at them with a skeptical eye, because this film is incredibly dull. But I think really what this boils down to, by the way, this is going to be super tight tonight. You guys know what's tomorrow. Tomorrow are the Oscar nominations at 5 a.m. for those of us here in Los Angeles. Early as hell. So this stream is going to be compact, okay? I'm going to get to a few comments about Infinity Pool, but I pretty much just told you everything you need to know. I will say, I want to add one more thing, that if I am Alexander Skarsgård, I think it's time for you to consider finding a new agent, or at least someone who will advise you, manager, whoever, good friend, to possibly rethink your choices. certainly in film, because you got The Northman, boring as hell. So he's worked with two auteurs, right? He's got his Cronenberg, he's got his Eggers, and both of them are boring films. Now, The Northman's certainly more interesting than Infinity Pool. And the only thing I will say positive here tonight about Infinity Pool is at least it's marginally better than Crimes of the Future. So Brandon has it over his dad. Just for this one moment in time, he has the Cronenberg trophy at home for just being slightly, marginally, infinitesimally better than Papa with Infinity Pool. To the comments we go, and listen, guys, it is tight tonight. I'm up at 5 a.m. tomorrow on Film Threat, their channel, live Oscars nomination reaction. I got to be ready to go, okay? If you guys want to get the latest on that, by the way, you know where to go, awardsace.com, my site. It's all there. Every category has your, in Best Picture, 10. Everything else is 5, and you'll see who I think is in, who I think is out, and we'll discuss it tomorrow. We'll also do a very short, compact half hour about 6 a.m. tomorrow here on the channel, live. Oscar Reacts, just me going through the categories, telling you who won, who lost, who were the snubs, the true snubs, not the ones Film Twitter says, the real snubs. To the comments, here we go. And again, tight stream tonight, so we're only staying on point with Infinity Pool. I'll answer anything you want to do, even a spoiler or two. At this point, we're at the point in the stream where we can do a spoiler. If you have a question about it, pretentious drivel Chris score. I'll see you in the morning, by the way. I can't wait. I would say yes. There's no question when you watch this film, you feel, in fact, one of the characters talks about pretentiousness, and I go, well, that's really something to come out of this film that I'm watching right now. Like, wow, Brandon, did you not see that this is exactly the film that you are making? Yes, it is a tie kit tonight. Thank you, Goober, for noticing. This is Bangkok United, and that's why I put the floodlights in red to match the kit along with the graphics here tonight. Mia Gott's teats. It's just what it is, Chris Gore. It's exactly what it is. It was better than The Whale. That's a great question, Goober. Infinity Pool greater than The Whale, because you guys know how I feel about The Whale. If it gets a Best Picture nomination tomorrow, it will be the single worst Best Picture nominee in the history of the Oscars. It is the worst film of 2022. So tonight I come here to tell you that Infinity Pool is better than The Whale. That's the best that I can do. And Goober, thank you, by the way, for watching Duel. Because if you haven't seen Duel, you need to prioritize Duel over Infinity Pool, because they deal with the exact same subject of cloning. But what I love about Duel is that it gets into the head of what would actually happen if you did have a clone and you had to battle to the death, which essentially is what we have here with Infinity Pool when we get down to it by the third act. But again, what Riley Stearns does with Duel, and certainly the close of that film, is much more thought-provoking than anything here in Infinity Pool, which is a film that tries to shock and awe, but ends up being incredibly dull. Very much like Crimes of the Future. It's almost, it's better than Crimes of the Future, marginally, right? Infinitesimally. But it's still better. But it's the same thing that we had with Crimes of the Future. The Cronenbergs just can't seem to make something that is as audacious as they think they're making. It ends up being boring. And that's ultimately that's a bad place to be as a filmmaker if your mission is to create something that is going to get people legitimately talking about your film, right? Oh my God, can you believe what just happened in Infinity Pool or Crimes of the Future? And instead you come out and you say, I was nearly asleep with my head on the railing next to my chair. That's not good for a film that's allegedly titillating, allegedly out there, allegedly going really far against that NC-17 rating, which the version I saw tonight had to be. Because when it opens, I don't know the version you're going to get here on Thursday night when it comes out. I mean, obviously this weekend, but Thursday night preview screenings. I'm not sure if you're going to get the one, but I can tell you this. It has to be NC-17 because not only do we get Mia Goth jacking him off, we actually get the finish, right? Not in the face. We get the finish on the finish. So this had to be NC-17 tonight. But even at that point, a movie that, again, features this kaleidoscopic orgy, you should be, getting, I don't know, forgive me. You should have at least some kind of movement inside of you that is of a sexual nature. Like, my God, this is actually turning me on at some level. No, this film doesn't. It's the opposite. And that's what's so strange. Again, when you're making a film that's supposed to be something that moves you in an animalistic fashion, and instead it makes you feel like you need to take a nap, then you failed at your mission. You failed. I'm so close, by the way, on this film. I'm really close to wanting to hammer it, but I can't quite get there. It's the strangest thing. You guys know when I go off on a film, such as The Whale, such as The Gray Man, such as Babylon, these films that you just literally gut, you annihilate, you nuke. It's just decimate the film. This is like, but then again, that's kind of the worst. I'd rather watch something that makes me want to tear the screen down than something that almost put me to sleep. And had me looking at my watch going, how much more? Okay, it's 2-hour runtime. We've got 20 minutes. Okay, let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this up. Mia Goth, listen, when you look at Mia Goth, you certainly are going to point out Pearl and X. And I think that those are superior than what we see here. There's times when I watch Mia Goth, and I think even in Pearl, I would say this. Not all the time, but there's times when she is acting, right? When she is really going for it. And it's almost like what we talked about last night with Barry Keoghan. You need to just give me, instead of 11, give me a 9. You're just going to dial it back just a little. And I think Mia Goth here does that. And in Pearl, same time, she does this thing with her mouth where she goes, when she drags the bottom, it's like, okay, I get it, but I think we need to go again from that 11 or 10 to a 9, 8, 7, and you're going to be a little stronger. I mean, still, she's one of the more interesting actresses going today. She's not the problem with the film. Alexander Skarsgård, I would suggest, is, good-looking dude. But is he really that interesting? I think that's one of the problems you have with The Northman, is you need somebody who can emote, right? I remember watching The Northman. We talked about this on a stream so many months ago now. When you watch Gladiator, right, you watch Russell Crowe and the emotion that he was able to put forth in that film. And while I understand Gladiator is obviously not the same film as Northman, there's a way, if you are the lead, Skarsgård, in Northman, to make you have an emotional pull to the character, and you don't. It's one of the problems with the Northman, and here, same thing. I just feel like he's a very good-looking dude that is interesting enough. I don't think he is that next level actor that when you get him in something, you're like, okay, we're going to raise the film. There's not a lot of actors who do that. I think he's just someone who's there plus. That's what we'll call it. Present plus on Skarsgård. Mia Goth is definitely presence plus, right? Very much. I think she's a star, no question. Skarsgård, yeah, he's okay. He's okay. A few more, and then we're going to get out of here. I've got a stream to do with this guy right here, Chris Gore, tomorrow morning at 5. I really did not like Crimes of the Future, and I love Cronenberg. Crimes of the Future is talk about a dull film. And this film, though, I will say, is more interesting because of the narrative arc here is much. It's just more traditional. Crimes of the Future has very little going on for those of you who had to suffer through that film. it's just body horror, not even horror. God, it wasn't even horror. It was just body boredom. This film at least has that White Lotus thing going on, where you're at least following along the story where what's gonna happen next here, right? With Crimes of the Future, it's like, okay, we're doing an autopsy of an 8-year-old kid. Where are we headed with this? And it doesn't really go anywhere. The kid eats trash cans. That was the movie. That was the movie Cronenberg made. My kid's a freak. He's eating the trash can. What a terrible film. This is better, but not much. But just no, we're not doing this tonight, Yor. I got to be up at 5 a.m. The comments are not going to keep me here. They're just not going to. They're not going to. Britain, you're not going to keep me on here either. The R-rated versions is 90 seconds shorter without the money shot. That makes sense, Alex, because again, the version we saw tonight was there's a scene where there's a stabbing and you get like 1,000 stabs, right? And I'm just like, okay, that's NC-17, like Terrifier 2. And then there's the final scene where it's just bashing a guy's head in. Okay, we're kind of in the spoilers, but whatever, man. You guys know the movie's just weird and boring. But when you look at that money shot, I'm watching, going, wait a second, am I watching a porn? What is this? So it should be better than that. Bill's better than Alexander. I think that's correct. I think that he's more interesting. And you look at him as Pennywise, you look at him as, just a barbarian. There's something more that he's able to do with his emotion, with his eyes, than Alexander. I think that's very fair. Good call. Let's get ready to wrap this, because again, I'm up at 5 a.m. So here is the rating, 5 out of 10. 5 out of 10 for this film, which is better than Crimes of the Future, was like a 3. So we're 2 points above that. The Whale is a 1. So this is above The Whale, above Babylon, above Crimes of the Future, above Men, but still under so many other films. I mean, just name another film, we're under that. But the takeaway tonight, before I see you tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. on the Film Threat channel, and then right afterwards here tomorrow on MMT in the morning, 6 a.m. Pacific time, that is 9 a.m. on the East Coast, we'll go through the Oscars, all 23 categories quickly, with the winners and the snubs, right? Those who deserved it and didn't get it, those who got in that didn't deserve it, and we'll just break that whole thing down. But the takeaway here tonight on Infinity Pool is skip the film and watch Riley Stearns' Duel. That is the takeaway here tonight. I will see you tomorrow morning live on the Film Threat channel. You can find it via Chris Gore. Put it in the link right here, Chris. I'll let you do it right now in the comments. I'll see you at 5:15. I'm going to sleep in just a little bit, Chris. Take a shower. Be ready to go. And I'll see you at 5:15 in the morning tomorrow on the Film Threat channel. And then 6 a.m. back here on Midnight Movie Talk in the morning for Oscars nomination special. It's like Christmas Eve here in Los Angeles. Who's in, who's out? We talk about it tomorrow morning on the Film Threat channel back here 6 a.m. tomorrow. Good night all from Los Angeles. Erick Weber out.